everybody, welcome to another Painting with Rob. Today we are taking care of, Batman Clayface. Now this is a real easy figure to do, and I'm going to show you, I go a little bit more than what we should do, but you'll see that I'm going to really just do a couple things and bring it back out, and I think it gives a nice detail, and it's a little bit different than what you would normally see. So without further ado, let's see how to paint Clayface from Batman Gotham City Chronicles. Now we're going to have to, probably one of the easiest figures you're ever going to get a chance to paint in this Batman series, and that's Clayface. And right now I'm just taking some Rhinox hide, and we are just completely just covering him, and that's all we want to do. We want to get that dark color underneath, because we're going to want to pull out detail, but we want to have the basis of everything, which is basically set up that clay type of feel to it. So by just getting this all covered with this base coat. Now we primed the black because we really want this brown to darken up really well, and the way we're going to do that is by covering, I mean, it's just all clay. It's clay. And if you ever played with clay, there's two types of clay. There's brown clay and there's gray clay. And we're going, well, we could have gone gray, but it would have looked too stone-like. And we don't want to do that. Even though this is such a cool figure, if you really look at it. Just making sure that you get underneath here, and we want just complete coverage, and we're going to want this to dry real well. We want to make sure that we move this paint around. But if you notice, what's the big thing that you notice? Well, I'll tell you what you notice is, number one, is that there's no dimension to it, because it just looking at the camera, it just looks like a big brown blob of everything. And that's what we're going to do, is after we get done with this, getting this color on, we're going to let it dry. Then we are going to start building dimension, so he comes out and he feels like he's alive, and he feels like he's made out of clay, and that's exactly what we want to do. So let me finish this up, and then we'll come back with the next step. All right, so you see we got that dark brown for, well, Clayface here, but we're going to go even darker, because we really want to, what I really want to do is I want to really stick out his features here. And what I'm doing here is taking some Newell oil, okay, which is a black shade, and I'm going over and I'm making sure I'm getting it all in the recesses. You're going, Rob, what are you doing? Why are you making him so dark? I mean, he doesn't look that way in the pictures or in the comic. Trust me this time. Not like with the dragon, but just trust me. I know what I'm doing sometimes. And what we're doing is just really getting this on here. And I really want to get this in every nook and cranny I can. See where that crack of that concrete there? Right into the bricks here. And I want all that shade to really sit in there, because it's going to make a difference when we come back over him. Now you're probably asking, why not a brown shade, since he is brown? Because I really I really want that. I was going to make a joke right there, but let's not. The whole point is to really put some shadows on this guy, because he's so, he's such an easy figure. You can do a couple of things here. You could have just left him brown and really kind of gone over and just dry brushed over, but I think sometimes doing it this way is just going to give you a little bit better of effect. And if you just stick with me and watch, I think you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm going to finish this up, and then we're going to come back once he dries, and then we're going to get him, we're going to start shading, we're going to start bringing him to life. So just bear with me, folks. Okay, so we got this guy nice and dark and everything that we want to do, and all we want to do now is we want to start giving him that kind of clay feel that we want to have. And to do that, we're actually going to use an army painter paint, Monster Brown. See, I don't just use all of one color of one thing. I use a little bit of everything. And all I want to do is very lightly. See how lightly I'm going over? But I want to make sure I cover up my strokes. Okay, I don't want, and usually I would take a little bit more of this off, but because I'm going to go so lightly over this, that I'm just going to really take my time and really work this paint in and not be afraid to really work it in. But you see what I'm talking about with the dark shade, now how that is starting to sit up here, and the dark shade in there by really making him darker. And I'm just going to take a little bit more. I have this watered down too. So I'm taking it off my brush. It's watered down. I'm going to have to do this a couple of coats to go over, but I just need to just take my time because this is the most important. You could really ruin this guy if you don't do this correctly. And that's just taking easy strokes. You'll know when you feel it's right. You'll feel in your heart when it's right, and that's the key. You'll just get a feel for it. As you can see, by just lightly going over, you're not filling all these recesses. You're just kind of working your way around, and he starts to come out. He starts to develop. As you can see, just use that brush and really just work that paint in there. That's it. See how it's coming together? Now I'm going to finish this guy up. And I'm just going to keep on working. And all I'm going to keep on doing is exactly what I keep on saying, is just going over him very lightly. Letting the paint and the brush run over the top. And where I feel that I need to really get that color, I'll push a little bit harder, but not too hard. Just so we start to get that, well, that clay feel to him. So I'm going to keep going with this. I'll show you when it's all done and then where we're going to go from there, folks. Okay, I want to show you some final things here. For the base here, what I used was a Sterling mud, and that really works well because it makes it look like wherever he goes, he's dragging mud with him. The other thing I did is, if you notice his eyes are in there, I used an Avalon Sunset, okay, and all we did is just dot those in, which was pretty easy. As you can see, it has that clay feel to it, but it's detailed enough where we got what we want. We got that feel that I was looking for. The next thing I want to do is, because this is now kind of dry, I want to make it look like wherever he's walking, he's dragging his clay. So even though he's walking in the mud here, I really want to kind of just add just a little bit of flavor here, and like really make it like he's dropping clay all over the place. All right, because he's constantly just oozing clay. So we're lightening up the top of the mud to match the color that he is. So when he's walking, he's actually like dripping this clay onto the mud, and that's where he's drawing it all from. And you know, just using your imagination a little bit to give it a little bit of flair and favor. Now you can lighten him up a little bit more, but I really kind of like this kind of look. It's a little different. It's simple. It's easy to do. It's easy to put together. And if you saw, by darkening and using that deep brown and then putting that dark wash over it and then coming back out, you see that we've got plenty of detail of what we really want from Clayface here. And I think it looks pretty good and good enough to get down onto the table. So I hope you enjoyed this. Let's send it up top and get my final thoughts. And hey, we've got a lot more Batman to paint, so let's get to it. Well, there you have it. As easy as it can be. It's nothing too hard. It's a lot of just making sure that you dry brush And if you notice when we put that wash, how dark it got, but that helps when we put that lighter color over it and really gives that getting into the recesses and gives it depth, which we always talk about. But the main thing there and hitting the home run is making sure that we get that clay type of feel to it. And the base really helps by putting that mud on there and a little bit of the clay, dropping the clay over, because he's just leaking clay. You know, just really trying to sell the figure, and the base does that. So, until next time, it's your old pal Rob. We'll see you soon.